When most people think of Cleveland beating Toronto in Game 7, they're going to think about Davion Mitchell's tough shot making, especially this three right here. You might think about Jarrett Allen's game and the putbacks and cleanup job he did around the basket, or maybe even these transition dunks like this one right here by Jarrett Allen. But the player I'm going to remember most from Game 7 was this player right here. Someone no one's talking about, Max Strus. Well, I shouldn't say that. Some people are talking about him, but in the wrong ways. Because when you search Max Strus, well, the first plays that are going to pop up are these razzle-dazzle one-on-one moves to score an easy basket. Or you're going to think about the infamous headbutt play on Scotty Barnes. And we'll talk about that a little bit later. But these plays overshadow the impact Max Strus had on the game. For me, he's the player that single-handedly changed the dynamic and feel of this game even early on. And the box score backs that up. He was plus 24 in before garbage time started, and even throughout the entire game, he was plus 19 in plus or minus, the highest of any player. Now, the game did not start off well for Cleveland, even though they won it. They actually fell down 10 points to start this game. And Max Strus came in halfway through the first quarter, and the scoring really didn't stop there either. You can see right now he's matched up against Battle, and they're going to score 2 more points here. You can see James Harden just completely loses his man on this back cut, on this post up, and that's going to be par for the course. They fall down 10 points in the first quarter before they start clawing back. And what really started that comeback is none other than Max Strus. And like I've said in my previous video, when you're down, when you're in a tough situation, what you need more than anything are effort plays. Something to change the feel and momentum. Not a tough shot, not a gamble, but someone to sacrifice their body. And you can see right here on this scramble, closeout, he drives it, and Max Strus is going to come over and take this charge. Even on the pass, he's going to commit to the charge. And you can see the excitement from the coaches, the excitement from the bench, and the crowd is finally going to get into this game as Cleveland's trying to claw back. And less than a minute later, you can see Max Strus is going to be off the play. Again, guarding the player in the dunker spot down here, and Scotty Barnes is going to try and go ISO. But who, none other than Max Strus, steps in and takes this charge on Scotty Barnes, probably the strongest player on the court pound for pound right now, and he takes it right in the chest and gets the offensive foul. Again, when you're down big and the momentum's not in your favor, you need plays like this. I mean, look at your teammates reacting, screaming in excitement. Look at the bench standing up, excited. That's the momentum plays you need when you're not having the start that you envisioned. And Max Strus certainly supplied that right off the bench in the first quarter. And that foul on Scotty Barnes is going to play up huge throughout this game because he's actually going to be in foul trouble later on, picking up 3 fouls in the first half alone. And we'll see that third foul a little bit later. You can see Max Strus still off the ball here, not guarding a primary player. He's going to be down here guarding the player in the corner. You can see Barnes and Barrett here. Now Barnes is going to get into a pick and roll situation. He's going to look at this roller but not throw it. And you can see maybe Max Strus is the reason he's tagging the roller. But then he also gets a good stunt on Barnes. Maybe forces the pickup. Mobley doing a great job there. Again, Strus just staying home. They forced the miss, and now they clawed back from down 10 to now within 2 points going into the second. But Max Strus is actually going to get subbed out of the game. James Harden's going to come in. And not until much later in the second quarter is Max Strus going to come back in. And now we're again down 10 as Cleveland, which is why Max Strus's plus or minus was so big. He's finally back in the game, and we're down 10 again. So what is he going to do? Well, his assignment's going to completely change at this point. They're actually going to use Max Strus as a face guard player on Scotty Barnes. They want to take Scotty Barnes out of this game, take away his impact, and Max Strus is going to be the player they rely on to do that. And you can see right from the jump, Scotty Barnes doesn't have much respect for this matchup. He's going to wave everyone off and try and isolate Strus in the post. But you can see Jarrett Allen does a good job of playing the low side, Strus fronting and denying the high side. And Toronto is actually going to take the entire shot clock here just to get the ball to Scotty Barnes. You can see now there's 5 seconds left. Barnes again waves off everyone, wants to go at this matchup one-on-one. And now we can see for the first time in Game 7 how Max Strus is going to match up against Barnes in isolation. And you'll see here he cuts off the first, jams the spin move, and contests that fadeaway. And Max Strus is going to win those one-on-one matchups the entire game on Scottie Barnes. And we'll see much more of that to come. But that's going to be his assignment for the rest of the half, really, is just staying glued on Scottie Barnes to take him out of the game. Cleveland is comfortable playing 4-on-4, and Toronto is going to just accept it as well. Keep Scottie Barnes in the corner, Max Strus glued to him, and Cleveland's going to force other players to score and beat them. And that's going to work to Cleveland's advantage. Again, here, another play, and I just love the intensity of Strus. We just scored a basket. He's not celebrating. He's not jogging back on defense. He's not distracted by scoring. He's locked in on his assignment, sprinting to Barnes, making sure he doesn't get an easy touch, making sure that every touch he has to work for, he's staying glued. He's not even worried about where the ball is. He's worried about where Barnes is, because that's his assignment, to take this player out of the game. This time, Toronto is going to try and involve him in the play by using this little exit screen at the nail, where Barnes can go this way, he can go that way, he can go to any wing, and Strus is just going to stay high side and really take it away. And what's Barnes do to counter it? Well, he's going to try and run interference on the ball, right? Try and get James Harden to run into him or run into his teammate Max Strus. But James Harden actually does a good job. I don't know if he's the one I should be complimenting here. Maybe Max Strus does a good job. But anyway, they slip through that. Harden able to stay in front of the ball. Max Strus able to stay glued on Scottie Barnes. Toronto now has to flow into something else. Again, Barnes is going to try and run interference here. And this is something Strus is going to learn throughout the game. But as he's face guarding, this is a great counter offensively if you are being face guarded. Just kind of hold and use yourself as a screen, almost setting a double screen, getting two defenders out of the play if you can do it successfully. And you can see Barnes kind of has the freedom of movement to kind of line up that on-ball defender and get him tangled up. Strus has to emergency switch. Good recognition there. He gets the clap contest. Not something I highly recommend, but anyway, he's doing whatever it takes. Clap contest, and he forces the miss. But just great awareness, great face guarding. We have an offensive, we have a foul on the offensive rebound, and that's going to rack up a little bit here in the second quarter. But nonetheless, Strus is doing a great job on Barnes. This time, maybe a little mismatch in transition flow here, but Strus is going to be on RJ Barrett, actually switches on this screen. But Strus understands, and every defender out there should understand, who are the two players that can make the biggest impact, right? Well, he's already been on Barnes, so you should know where that player is. But also, we have to be aware of RJ Barrett, who can also shift this game. So what is he looking at here? He is glued on to that matchup. He knows RJ is probably going to try and put his stamp on this game, and he's trying to drive Davion Mitchell baseline here. Now, if you play for Cleveland, you should know you have Jarrett Allen at the rim, so usually those players are going to spin. RJ Barrett loves to spin when you see a shot blocker, but Davion Mitchell actually cuts him off baseline anyway, so that spin's going to happen. Knowing that RJ Barrett loves to spin, knowing that that's not an ideal matchup, knowing that that's a key player, well, Max Strus is going to commit to the blindside steal. When the offensive player can't see you coming, especially a key offensive player, get ready for that spin, get ready for a counter move, and go steal that ball. OKC is phenomenal at that blindside steal, and Max Strus does it right there on RJ Barrett. Again, Cleveland trying to get back into this game. Down 6 right now, and Toronto's going to go to another isolation on the elbow. Barnes versus Strus, the second time we get to see this isolation matchup. I love the activity of Strus's hands, making sure that Barnes can't jab and shot here. Barnes is actually going to get into his Kobe bag with the shimmy, knee, go, one dribble pull up, but Strus is going to be right there for a nice hard contest at the point of release and force another miss. Again, a makeable shot, but a tough one, and that's really the job of Strus here. This play right here might have secretly swung this game, and let me explain it, but let's watch it first. You can see Strus, again, glued onto Barnes, super physical. Right, we're going to see a lot of physicality as Barnes tries to come over here and run interference. Again, we saw Barnes was able to run interference that last time, right? Because he kind of had the freedom of movement and he was able to get in the way of the on-ball player and force an emergency switch. Well, this time, Strus is being super physical, and that physicality actually jams up Barnes, forces him above the level of the on-ball defender, which allows the on-ball defender not to get screened, but just to get under that action. That's the power of physicality, especially when you don't want to switch off a key matchup. Now, one thing to note, yes, he is being super physical. Could the ref call a foul? Yes, 100% he could. But usually, and this is just a mental game you have to play with the officials, when you're being super physical like Strus is being here on the officials, you're not going to get the whistle immediately. What you're going to get is the attention immediately. So the ref is going to say, whoa, something is going on here. And now the ref is going to have his attention on your matchup because you were just being super physical. So now what you need to do is not continue to be super physical, because that's when you'll get that quick foul. What you need to do is understand the ref's attention's on you, and the offensive player is probably going to retaliate a little bit by upping his physicality. So you have a great chance with the ref's attention on you to do exactly what Strus does here, takes a two-handed push, maybe sells it a little bit, maybe not. Scottie Barnes is a pretty strong player, but he takes the physical retaliation and gets an offensive foul. And that's going to be Barnes' third foul in the game. That means he's going to get subbed out for the rest of the second quarter. And actually, it's going to leave him in foul trouble the entire rest of the game as he picks up his fourth and fifth foul in the third quarter. And this is just a game, if you can get a key player like Scottie Barnes in foul trouble, well, he's not going to drive as hard. He's going to be afraid of offensive fouls like he's already picked up against Strus. He's going to be afraid of playing such physical defense that he's known for. So you've completely changed and altered this key player's game by just picking up some good fouls on him. With Barnes out of the game to end this half and end this quarter, you can see, who do they put Strus on? Well, they put him on the next deadliest weapon, and that's R.J. Barrett. So you can see the trust that Cleveland's coaching staff has with Strus on defense. He actually just gets switched off of here, and Davion Mitchell does a pretty good job again of guarding R.J. Barrett in isolation, forcing that spin move. This time, R.J. keeps that spin move contained, and you can see Cleveland was trying to get that blindside steal again on R.J., but R.J. does a good job of not letting that loose handle get stolen again. But bring your attention to Max Strus. He's guarding the guy in the corner. He's cracking down and helping with the dump-off pass. And then on the kick-out, he's actually going to help his teammate who went for that blindside steal. And he's going to be the first person to get out there and hard contest. I mean, I can't tell exactly by the angle, but it looks like, I mean, he almost gets a fingertip on this. That's how hard of a contest. But in that play, again, it's not going to show up in the stat sheet, but Max Strus really just guarded 3 players in that one play. His man, the crackdown post player, and hard contesting that kick out 3. And that's the kind of things that completely change a game without being loud about it. And it's going to force now a tie game going into the second half. This time Cleveland comes out of half and actually goes on a little bit of a run to get some control of this game before Strus comes in. They're going to be up 7 right here. And now Strus is coming in. Barnes is already out, right? And now he's going to be on R.J. Barrett again. He's going to do a great job of blowing up this get handoff action. Forces the pivot over and allowing Jarrett Allen to just rip it from his hands. So that's really all caused by Strus getting to the body, blowing up that handoff, and giving Jarrett Allen a chance to go steal that ball. And that's really what the next couple of minutes are going to be all about. Just face guarding R.J. Barrett. You can see Strus in the full court, just staying glued to R.J. Barrett the entire time, just keeping him in the corner. This time they're going to run a play for R.J., this little 5-out zoom action, right? We have a down screen into a dribble handoff. Now, Strus is going to use an technique called top blocking, right? Which is where you get in the path of the offensive player. You play top side so they can't get to the ball easily. Now, yes, could RJ Barrett 100% backdoor this? Yeah, of course he can. Actually, the paint is more open than you would probably expect. James Harden is hugged up on the weak side, so he's not going to be there to help at the rim. Jarrett Allen's actually pulled out right now at the top of the key, so this is a great time to back cut. But RJ is so focused on getting the ball because that's maybe the play call that Strus's top block actually blows up the flow of this play completely. One thing to be aware of, if you are denying and top blocking, don't get above the level of the ball because then things like this can happen. Luckily, Jarrett Allen does a good job of containing and drop coverage both of these players, allows Strus to get back and just ever slightly get back in position to wall up and lower the percentage of that make. Now, is that a makeable shot from RJ? 100%, but we just want to make these shots tougher and tougher, and that's what forces the rim out. Again, just love the intensity. Everyone's sprinting back on defense. Everyone's excited. We just scored. What's Strus doing? He's not doing anything but running to his matchup, being locked in the entire time, chest to chest, face to face. Just take RJ Barrett out of this play. Again, they're going to try and get him involved, 5 out, pin away. But again, Strus is going to blow it up physically, disrupting RJ. They're going to have to go into a second side action. And yes, Toronto scores here, even gets an N1, but who's out of the play the entire time? RJ Barrett, and that's Strus's job. So again, excelling at your role, running up there again to face guard RJ Barrett, the whole distance of the floor. Boom, keep him out of the play. Cleveland has shown they're comfortable playing 4-on-4 as long as they're choosing the player not involved, and that's exactly what's happening here and why they've been able to get great control of this game. Finally now Cleveland up 10 for the first time in this game. Guess who subs in now? Scotty Barnes. Guess who's going to be on him? None other than Max Strus. The first touch is not going to be easy. Strus even deflects it out of bounds. Maybe even gets a turnover here, but they don't have a challenge, so we're not going to look at that. But gets, again, making every touch difficult for Scotty Barnes. Scotty Barnes is not going to have a good night. They're going to have to bring someone up to set a screen just to get him the inbounds. And then they clear out, and that's not going to go well either because watch Strus here. He almost slips on this turn, somehow regathers himself to get this steal. And just, I mean, you can see the frustration building on Scotty Barnes. Throws it ahead, and we saw this at the top, this dunk. That really puts an exclamation point on this game. This play I just want to throw in here. A little annoyed here at James Harden. He can clearly sprint back and get in front of RJ Barrett. Just kind of jogs on the side of him, though. And then, meanwhile, Max Strus is battling his butt off against the rim-running center. Does not allow himself to get sealed out of the play like most players would, especially in the NBA. Actually slips behind the post player and is able to get chest-to-chest with RJ. I think Harden does get a little swipe there to fumble the ball, and then Strus gets the slap-down deflection, which ultimately leads to another turnover. But again, those little plays that no one's talking about, those are the kind of plays Max Strus was known for in Game 7 here. Again, cuts off a little bit, but you can see Strus, RJ Barrett, not RJ Barrett, Scotty Barnes right here. And this is actually the infamous headbutt play, which wasn't caught in real time. But here's the thing, guys. Like, yes, I don't recommend doing that. The headbutt play, but great defenders get in a zone and they constantly toe the line between, fouls, between legal position, illegal position. They are constantly going to be on the edge, right? Think of a guy like Draymond Green, Patrick Beverley, all those kind of players. They're playing right on the edge, and it gives them an advantage most of the time. Obviously, we don't want it to result in easy baskets the other way, like technical fouls, or even in this case, a flagrant one where they get 2 shots in the ball. But I love Strus's reaction, right? After he's learned about the flagrant one, what does he do? He sprints right to the top of the 3-point line and just mean stares at Scotty Barnes as he takes these 2 foul shots. It was amazing to watch the game capture. He's just standing here. No one can even get in his ear. He's just focused on his attention, his assignment. He's just locked into Scotty Barnes. The moment he makes his second one, he's just going to get glued right back to him. And that's the kind of assignment you want, right? The player who can move on and keep that intensity even when something's not going his way. Again, right here, Barnes out of the game, in foul trouble. Who's Strus guarding? RJ Barrett does a great job getting through this handoff, staying attached, riding and walling RJ Barrett just to lower the percentage of that makeable shot, but just riding. And, not a lot of players will be able to fight through that dribble handoff, stay attached, and not get a foul called there like Strus does to force the miss. And we're coming to the end of this game because Cleveland's certainly in control now, up 18 going into the fourth. We're going to see the last chance Scottie Barnes is going to get to isolate Strus, this time with a deep post catch. And I just want to bring your attention, Scottie Barnes is stronger than Max Strus, no doubt about it. But look at the angle Strus is using. Look at the wide base. That's what you need to do when you're giving up size in the post. And please make sure this back foot is not going to be able to get drop step sealed, right? So many players make that mistake. Iguodala has been great at it in mismatch situations back in the day. Strus showing exactly what Iguodala used to do, using that wide base and not allowing that drop step. Now, he probably knows he has Jarrett Allen on that baseline side, and he's trying to take away middle as much as he can. If you don't have that luxury and you're completely isolated, probably best to put your butt to the basket so you don't give up an easy hook either way. But you can see the strength and the leverage that Strus has gotten just from that positional strength, that angle, that wide base, and that's what you want. And then Jarrett Allen, of course, cleans up around the basket right there. And they're actually able to scrum rebound that ball. And then finally, we got two daggers here as Toronto's trying to make a comeback here. Cleveland in control. This is just a hard contest on RJ Barrett. Look at that contest. Really tough makeable shot. But then the concept we saw the Miami Heat use a lot, even when Strus was on them, so maybe a little carryover, but a contest to a run out. So a lot of players, obviously, when they shoot the ball, they just stare at it, right? They just stay in place, and transition defense right now, not a factor for Toronto. No one's getting back. The shooter's standing watching his shot. So you have a great opportunity to contest and run out. Now, your coach has to be okay with it, right? Because you're not going to be in position to get a long rebound. But on the flip side, you can really secure some easy run out baskets like we see right there. So the contest and run, definitely a good strategy to have in your back. And then last but not least, we haven't talked about Max Strus on the offensive end. He only had 12 points, but when Toronto is trying to make a run at the end of the game, using pressing, using traps, who other than Max Strus puts the dagger, puts the nail in the coffin with this three, and you can see him waving goodbye. That's game over. And that's why I'll remember Max Strus from Game 7. Yes, Donovan Mitchell had a huge part. Jarrett Allen had a huge part. But the player that no one's talking about that I think deserves a lot of credit is Max Strus for his ability to take charges, for his ability to take out RJ Barrett and Scottie Barnes for long stretches of this game. And to me, that's why he was plus 24 when it mattered most. And that's why he might be my MVP of Game 7. Make sure to like and subscribe this video. I'll be posting more of these kind of playoff breakdowns, and especially if you love defense, you found the right place. As always, I'm Coach Mike with Lockdown Defense. Keep up the hard work.